Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black. Wow, what an exciting week this has been. I know if you follow national politics and you are looking at things happening, what's going on in the White House, I know you are like, it's just some amazing things going on. I want to give a shout out to my main man, HB, and everybody over here at Radio Next. If you don't have the app yet, go to TuneIn, get the app, and you can log in to www.radionext.tv. Check out his entire lineup. He has a lot of different and interesting shows on his network, and you guys should tune in because it's all community all the time, and he's always talking about how we can better the lives of our fellow citizens, especially those of us in Marion County. So I want to send some love out to HB and Radio Next, because this is an awesome opportunity to come to you guys and talk to you about what's going on in the world. So I've been getting a lot of people asking me, Dana, where do we go? How do we get signed up? What's going on? Where can I get involved? So today I thought, and maybe, as I'm learning how to do a show on a weekly basis, I'm learning there probably is some things that I should to do differently. One of those is I should share these events with you that I know about, and I should let you, give you a moment to get a pen or open up your calendar on your phone and share with you events that you may be interested in, and getting connected with other like-minded left-leaning individuals who are down with the cause and looking out for each other. So just to give you an update, on Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Julia Carson Center is the IDAC meeting. It is the Indiana Democratic African American Caucus. I know that they will be honoring Senator Billy Breaux at this event. So if you get a chance to get out and you want to support some folks, go check out IDAC on Saturday. It should be a good time. And if I'm not giving all the information, it's because I don't actually have it all in front of me, and I apologize for that. So next Monday, let me see. Next Wednesday on at 6:30 in Washington Township, they have their Washington Township Democrat Club. Listen, I got to tell you, the Washington Township Democrat Club is very well organized. This is a well-oiled machine. They have former elected officials. They have a lot of people who are engaged. I know the Constable Steve is there every week, and I love it. I mean, so if you guys get a chance, check out the Washington Township Club meeting on Wednesday, May 17th. Tuesday, May 23rd is the Center Township meeting. It is also at the Julia Carson Center. The Washington Township Club meeting is at their Washington Township Trustees on Keystone Avenue. The Center Township is on the 23rd. It's at the Julia Carson Center. It's a nice club. It's really all about Center Township. So if you're down for the cause, that's a good place to visit. For my Southsiders, Thursday, May 25th, the Perry Township Club meets. I'm really not exactly sure what the location is on that one. I haven't actually been there for that one yet, but the South Side is doing some stuff, or Perry Township. And then on the 30th is the South Side Club meeting. They actually have a building on the South Side. The South Side Club meeting is the oldest and largest running South Side. If you don't know Larry, he's going to ask you for your dues. So make sure you got some money available, because he's going to ask you for your $5, $10 dues. That's what Larry does. We just celebrated his 90th birthday. So that's how deep he is, and that's how strong he is. So check out the Southside Club on Tuesday the 30th. The Pike Club is also at the Pike Township Government Center over on the west side. Theirs is Wednesday the 31st. Again, another well-oiled organization. These clubs get together. You are often going to find an elected official or somebody to talk to over at the Pike Township Club. They do things really well over there. My girl, Annette Johnson, is the president over there. So definitely get connected. And then on June 1st is the Warren Township Democrat Club. They meet at 7 p.m. All of the 30th, 31st, and the 1st, all of those meetings are at 7 p.m. at their respective locations. And if you're not, I know I gave a lot of information right away, and it was pretty quick, but feel free to visit the Marion County Democrat Club, Marion County Democrats website. They have a calendar of events. If you're not really sure where you live, where you want to get involved, honestly, I know people that go to all the township club Democrat clubs. They're members to all of them, and they visit all of them because there's camaraderie and Democrats coming together, right, and not fighting each other all the time. Over stuff that we can't change or fix. So these clubs are a good way for people to come together. There's usually some dynamic speakers that are there. I've met some of the most amazing people at club meetings. I know when we had our Lawrence Club meeting a couple weeks ago, in fact, our Lawrence Club is not even on my calendar. We got to fix that. There's a Lawrence Club meeting coming up soon, and I want to say it's on the 24th, but I need to get that. But anyway, these club meetings are a good way for Democrats to come together and talk about what's going on in their respective communities, get a chance to socialize and fellowship with each other. And also, we sign people up to volunteer. We sign people up, we sign people up to knock on doors, make phone calls, because, we can't wait to 2018. We can't wait until, a month out and say, oh my gosh, we need volunteers. So this is how we build up our volunteer list. But it's fun. Usually there's food. Everybody likes food. Usually there's food. Membership dues are like anywhere from $10 to $15 for a year. It's not a whole lot. But you should definitely, get involved with some of the clubs. It'll give you an opportunity to get, to do some fellowshipping with some Democrats. Of course, now, I'm going to talk about some things. I just wanted to start off kind of positive today. HB, what's up, boss? I wanted to start off with something positive, let you guys know. And feel free to always check out both the Indy Dems and Marion County Dems website. But there are on Facebook, you can probably find a Democrat club or group on Facebook. Like the Allen County Young Democrats are meeting next Monday. I was hoping to make it, but I think I double booked. But anyway, the Allen County Young Dems are meeting. There's all kinds of township and county clubs. Go on Facebook, join some of them, find out what they're talking about. Yeah, there's going to be some arguing going on, but we're not doing that. We're not doing that. How was my visit to the region? Hi, Jennifer. How you doing? I tell you what, I'm going to get to my week's events because it has been the last couple weeks has been fantastic. So let's start first with Friday. Friday, we had the HH dinner. And if you guys don't know what that is, that's the state parties. Like every county, every Democrat usually has one. Some of them are still calling them the JJ dinner, the Jefferson Jackson dinner. We don't have to call it the Jackson dinner no more. But I'm going to let you guys worry about how you name your events. Andrew Jackson, slave owner. We ain't got to really call it the Jefferson Jackson dinner no more, but you can call it what you want. But right now, the Indiana Democrats call it the Hoosier Hospitality Dinner. It's their marquee event of the year. It's our biggest fundraiser. And this year, we had Representative Ellison, who ran for the Democratic chair. He came and spoke eloquently. I had a chance to shake his hand and give him my card because you never know. The DNC might need Indiana's on. You never know. I want to make sure I keep my options open, right? But he talked about, coming together and helping each other out. It was really cool to see the interaction between him and Andre Carson, Congressman Carson. It was fantastic to listen to Ellison and his stories about how to make America, come together and how the Democrat Party needs to come together. That was fantastic. I think John Zodi and Brittany Solis did a fantastic job pulling the HH dinner together. But if you don't know, Senator Tim Lannon's daughter passed away last year, and Miss Cordelia Lewis Burks, who is the vice chair of the state party, gave an incredible speech and basically gave Megan an award for her volunteerism posthumously, and the whole Lannon family was there to receive that. That was really powerful and really moving because it wasn't that she was just the daughter of a state senator and someone who was successful. She was someone who rolled her sleeves up and got busy. I actually knew Megan and had a chance to meet her when I was just starting out, not knowing how to knock on doors, not knowing how to read walk lists. What does that mean? And I was volunteering for, I want to say, Joe Hogsett at the time. And she was just so helpful and so wonderful. We didn't get to spend as much time together as I wanted to, but I tell you what, her passing was kind of, it hit me in my heart. And I made sure that I went up to Anderson to pay my respects. She was a hard worker. So that was an amazing element of the program. But I got to give it up to my mayor Joe Hogsett. Somebody must have spiked his punch. I'm telling you, Mayor Hogsett had a drop the mic moment. I know that I kind of tweeted that out, and I really didn't tell you what all he said, but please know and believe he got on the stage. He talked about who we are as Democrats and what we need to do to improve the lives of everyday working people. And then when he got done, I think he was only up there for like 3 minutes. Usually, speakers give 3 to 5, sometimes 8-minute speeches. He was there like the bare minimum. And when he got done, he didn't even say goodbye. He just left the stage like, I'm going to hit you over the head with this knowledge, and then I'm leaving. That's how you do it, Mayor. And I had to tweet that right away. I was like, Mayor Hogsett had a drop the mic moment. He was hitting folks over the head with knowledge, and I loved it. I loved it. So the HH dinner was fantastic. That was on Friday. Then on Saturday, we actually had a training session. It was more of a training session, more of a for the county chairs and the district chairs to understand how to galvanize their precinct committee folks. And there was some training on how to be a precinct committee person and what that looks like. And in 2018, they will be having elections for precinct committee people. I know in Indianapolis alone, we have over 600 precinct seats available. So if you want to get involved with that, reach out to the Marion County Democrats. But if you are in another county, reach out to your county party chair or your district chair, and they can guide you. And if you're not really sure who that is, let me know. Hit me up, inbox me. I can go ahead and reach out to the people or give you the contact information of the folks if you're interested in being a precinct committee person. I know on June the 3rd and June the 10th, the Marion County Democrats are hosting a training session for precinct committee people. So if you're interested in knowing what that's like and what it requires, if you want to get involved and you don't mind calling people, making sure the new residents in your neighborhood are getting registered to vote. If you're interested in, keeping everybody informed of what's going on in your specific neighborhood, in your precinct, then reach out to your county party chairs. If you're not sure who that is, like I said, send me a link or inbox me your county, and I will tell you who to get in contact with. Obviously, if you're in Marion County, you know Kate Sweeney Bell. She was already here, and she told you to get involved. She was waiting on you. So, but on June 3rd and June 10th, they are having a training in Marion County. Hamilton County is having a candidate training, and I want to say theirs is on the 10th as well. They're going to be talking about how to fill out paperwork, how to make sure that you don't run into any finance reporting trouble and things like that, knowing what color signs to purchase, all the little things that you don't even think about. But all of those things are coming up. There's a lot happening. But anyway, the training that we did on Saturday was amazing. There were over 250 people there from across the state who came to learn, to get information to take back to their districts, to take back to their counties. But something I want to make sure that I reach out to my people about, of all the people that were there, there was one Asian, one Hispanic, and a handful of African Americans. I got to do better as that person dealing with engagement and outreach, letting you guys know that these events are happening. But at the same time, I need us to be there. How can we be a full party if all of us are not there? There was room for all of us. We weren't there, and I'm a little disappointed because I feel like I didn't do my job, but that's okay. I'm working on it. But there were 250 people there. They were fired up. Senator Donnelly came and spoke. Senator Donnelly, yes, he came and spoke. He didn't have to. He could have been somewhere else. right? He could have been somewhere else campaigning because he knows he's got a big campaign, but he came and he worked and he dressed everybody in the room. It was fantastic. He was there Friday night as well. So those are a couple of things that happened Friday and Saturday. I took Sunday off. Y'all know I take Sundays off. Monday, I drove up to Lake County. I had a chance to hang out with Councilman Washington and Councilman Levita. I was on their radio show, and they wanted to know what my role was with the state party, and I shared that information with them about what we're doing, how we're doing, and why we're doing it. It was a great time, but not only that, they had a whole itinerary set up for me. So when I got up there, because I knew, it's a 2.5 hour drive, let's have something planned out. We had lunch, we talked, but then I also had a chance to drive around and see some of the trouble spots that you guys have in Gary. Wow, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit. We got some work to do up there from a state party standpoint to make sure people know that the state party is here. But I had a chance to hang out. Good people. Learned a lot. I didn't get a chance to meet the mayor, Gary. I was really hoping to get that in. But hopefully next time I get up to Lake County, Mayor Freeman will be available because I'm excited. Whenever I get a chance to meet a woman who's in charge, I get excited about that. But I didn't get a chance to meet Mayor Freeman this time. Next time, hopefully. So we are not done. We are not done. When it comes to engagement, we are not done. So let me just pull my phone out because I have stuff on my calendar I want to share with you guys. Okay. So on the 13th, I'm going to be up in Porter County. That's Saturday. I'm going to drive up to Porter County, and we're going to be in a library. We're going to talk about engagement. In Valparaiso, we're going to talk about, again, same thing I've always talked about, engagement, getting people involved. So I'm going to be up in Porter County. I thought I was going to be able to make the Young Dems meeting on the 15th in Allen County. I am not going to be able to make it, but you guys should check them out. If they are always looking for young folks to get involved. We need young folks to be involved. They're our future. They need to know what to do, how to do it. So if you're available, check that out. On Tuesday, the 16th, I will be on the Renita Hill Show right here on Radio Next. I'm looking forward to sit down chatting with her. We're going to talk about, domestic violence and what that looks like in the LGBT community. And then the Women for Change is having a huge gathering at Broadmoor Country Club on Wednesday. And they're going to have some good speakers out there. They're going to be a panel of elected officials, bipartisan, Republicans, Democrats. My girl, Christina Hale, is going to be on there. So if you haven't already, this is an Eventbrite. So usually they have about 1,500 women that show up to their event. So if you haven't signed up, you probably should sign up. But I'll be at that one because that's huge. It'll be a huge event. Getting an opportunity to listen to people on both sides, get engaged about, what's going on. But yeah, so all of these things are available to you. So just, if you're not sure about something, you're still not sure what to do or how to get involved, because here it is, we're in May. We're 5 months into the month. Next month, June will be here in no time. Everybody's looking forward to Memorial Day, so you might as well just chuck up May. It's already done. We're 6 months in, and it's time for us to really start to focus and buckle down on what our plans will be on how to engage voters. So there are a lot of different avenues. I know I spend a lot of time talking about these things, but there are a lot of different avenues that you guys can reach out to. All right, let's get into what you really want to talk about. People. Nah, I'm just kidding. Y'all want to talk about people. I did notice a story in the AP today I wanted to touch on. It's more of a local story, and it's really about how municipalities spend their money. It's a really interesting story from Fishers, Indiana. You never know when a good article is going to jump up and smack you, and this one smacked me today. Representative Luke Messer's wife, she makes $20,000 a month from the town of Fishers to be a consultant attorney. Now, I want you to think about that. Right now, they already have 2 attorneys on staff that are doing the daily work. And they are not getting $20K a month to actually do the work. But Luke Messer's wife Jennifer, is getting $20K working as a contract attorney. Now, there's nothing illegal about anything that she's doing. She has the right to make her money. But if you notice, one of the things about Republicans that they always are trying to do, they want to reduce government labor and then contract out the work. But I very seldom get to see the average everyday person benefiting from these contracts. What I see are people who are voting on whether or not something should be privatized, reaping the benefits of these private contracts. So, again, nothing illegal about it. And Fishers doesn't have to actually pay her that money. I mean, considering that she struck the deal while she was living in Washington, D.C., it's Fishers. I'm sure you guys have extra money to toss around. $20,000 a month? Wow. I need to tell my sister Noelle, who is an attorney, you need to go get you a contract with the city of Fishers or somebody in Hamilton County, because they're giving away $20,000 a month for you not to actually have to do the work, because there's already 2 lawyers there doing the work. You're just a consultant.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Cliff, it's crazy. I mean, but those are the things that are happening that we, $20,000 a month. I wonder if the Fisher school system could use some of that money to enhance anything. And I'm not mad. And I want to make sure people understand that I'm not hating, right? I'm not hating on her making her money.
You just wanted to make sense.
Cliff got it right. He said, I just wanted to make sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. Jennifer Messer regularly staffs Fisher's meetings. She attends plan groups and said the closed-door executive sessions. I mean, she's doing something. But here, another attorney said she just gets pulled in all kinds of different directions, and she makes $100,000 less. And she's doing all the work. I don't have the time to dedicate to be in every single place at once. She's so bogged down, she can't even get everywhere. And she makes $100,000 less. Maybe they ought to give her more work. Maybe ought to give Jennifer Messer more work to do to earn that money. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I mean, Paul Hemke, who is a Indiana University public affairs professor, when he heard about it, said that, and by the way, Hemke, he used to be a former Republican mayor for Fort Wayne. So this is not a partisan thing. He says he's flabbergasted. He said, what does she do each month that can't be done by the other folks on the staff? Particularly when she's not here. She's not even here. She spends most of her time in D.C. Even if she were the only lawyer for the city, that would still be an extraordinary amount of money. Again, I ain't mad at her for making her money. If she can negotiate a contract with a city like Fishers, and they will give her $20,000 to actually not do any work and she can get paid, go right ahead. But you know what? As a voter, if I was a voter in Fishers, if I voted in Fishers, if I was somebody that was concerned about the fiscal stableness of that city, I would be asking, why does Representative Luke Messer's wife get $20,000 a month to do nothing? I'm sorry, she's a consultant. $20K. Oh man, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So, some of the things that we've been talking about over the last couple months were Trump's budget. We talked about his budget a little bit and some of the things he wanted to cut. And he really, really, really wants to cut the EPA and reduce regulations when it comes to, water, clean air, even, everything, regulations, because in their mind, regulation is a bad word. You might as well just cuss them out if you say regulation. But there's an interesting article, if you get a chance to read it. It is incredibly informative. It's on Politico, and it's called The Agenda. And the name of the article is called "What Broke the Safe Drinking Water Act." This article is incredible. Please, 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 if you care about the environment, if you care about making sure that whatever it is that you consume is safe, read this article. It is amazing. It's on Politico. It was published, I want to say yesterday morning. So it should be there. The Agenda 2020. And it talks about how perchlorate was a chemical that started to seep into the water supply in California in their reserve. And they went about the process of trying to eliminate perchlorate. I hope I'm saying that right. It's perchlorate, perchlorate. I tried to say it too many times. I'm gonna let that go. In the drinking water, and how the EPA at some point said, okay, wait, we're going to regulate this. You can only have so many so many parts per billion a concentration of this thing, because it has health issues. But what happened is, unless you're in California or Massachusetts, you could be drinking unhealthy amounts of this particular chemical because it's not being tested in the other states. And this particular chemical has been found in 45 other states. So the article talks about how the federal government is supposed to be looking out for these things that can harm us as humans. Now, in Europe, apparently, what they do is the manufacturer or the creator of the chemical has to prove that it's safe if consumed. But in our country, it is up to the government to prove whether or not something is or isn't safe to consume. And therefore, the vendor or the manufacturer is not even really held liable for that thing until they find out whether or not it hurts somebody. So the Safe Drinking Water Act was passed in 1974, but they haven't passed. Under the new law, the EPA has national limits for 89 dangerous chemical, bacteria, and viruses. But nearly all of those limits were set between 1986 and 1996. So basically, every chemical that has been essentially deemed dangerous was identified in 1986 through 1996, that 10-year period, and there hasn't been in the past 20 years, there hasn't been a single update on any new contaminants and regulated under law. Well, we know that there are over 85,000 new chemicals on the market, but we don't know what kind of effects those chemicals have if they're consumed. So basically, as these things are being studied, instead of removing them out of the environment before we actually know whether or not they're good or not, we end up consuming these contaminants until they finish their study. Now, of course, lobbyists, Heather, I'm going to tell you, you already know, lobbyists come into play with anything. And they will hold up some testing. Every business and every industry has their set of lobbyists. And Republicans will always tell you that regulations kill business. Regulations kill business. It makes it more difficult for them to make money, essentially, right? It affects their bottom line. But what they don't tell you is that regulations are put in place so that you are not harmed as the consumer. And so some of these things are not being taken care of and not looked into because lobbyists don't want you to look into them. They don't want to know that a chemical is going to be harmful if it's consumed. And in many cases, and this is the honest truth, you guys can look this up, Google this. I tell you all the time, I'm as smart as Google. Google this. Many cases, medications and chemicals, the manufacturer of these medications or chemicals will set aside like a fund for lawsuits. So they set aside so much money for lawsuits in the event that their medication or that chemical causes harm to a person or a community, so they can pay that money out. And the money that they set aside for these lawsuits is minuscule in comparison to the profits that they're going to make from the chemical that may actually cause harm. This is not how the government is supposed to work. The government is supposed to look out for the humans first, the environment. It's supposed to look out for, us, to make sure that anything that we consume is going to be safe. So I want to read a quote. It says, every person in the U.S. has unregulated contaminants in their drinking water. And this is said by Eric Olson, director of the National Resource Defense Council's health program. For some of these, we know that millions of people do have them at levels that are public health concerns. Now listen, I'm going to get to Comey in just a minute. I'm going to get to Comey in just a minute. But you must understand, based on the article and a lot of information that is available for you to research for yourself, there are powerful forces aligned against regulations. The article says this, it goes into detail, and then when you have a president or a government or elected officials who say less regulation for the coal industry, less regulation for the pharmaceutical industry, less regulation for our EPA, the people that are responsible for making sure that we're healthy. Listen, I understand everybody wants to make money, but are you willing to put blood on your hands? And I know I said that as shocking, and people are going to be like, oh my God, Dana's being dramatic. No, I'm not being dramatic. The reality is that people will die when we don't have proper regulations on particular things. Trust me, I understand there's a frustration that comes when the FDA takes much longer than it has to approve a drug that's been in use in Europe for a long time. A lot of that, it goes both ways. A lot of that is because their American pharmaceutical companies are saying, no, we don't want this European product in here because it may take away from our money. And if it costs less to produce that European product than it does the American product, then guess what, Americans? It's going to take longer for it to get through the FDA because of these silly regulations, right? But these regulations, when I hear people talk about wanting to reduce regulations without actually understanding the consequences of those reductions, then I think you're creating a health crisis that doesn't have to exist. It doesn't have to be that way. Yes, government can be more efficient. There is a way for government to be more efficient to make certain that any chemical or any drug that we allow in our environment is safe. We need to work on that. But I really want you guys, hopefully I piqued your interest enough to go and read that article on Politico, because wow, it's been 20 years since they've added any new chemicals that need to be regulated, and we have a president who's in the White House and the Congress who are saying, let's cut regulations. Regulations aren't important. They're preventing profits, capitalism, and free market, and all that other stuff from happening. You got people who are just really not interested in your well-being. They're more interested in whether or not they can get to Mars with their money. They want to take vacation trips to Mars or to the moon or to the space stations. They don't care about what happens to you and me. Obviously, they don't. And then on top of that, after you cut regulations, you don't want to provide people health care in case they get contaminated by the crap that you're putting in the water. People, I want you all to understand, government's job is to look out for you and I. Government's job is to make sure that you and I have a fair shake at life. Not to have to worry about the water that we're drinking is contaminating us. Do you know Flint, Michigan still doesn't have clean water? They still don't have clean water. 3 years later, they still don't have clean water. That is woeful neglect of an entire community. You think that would have happened down in Corpus Christi? You think the Hamptons would have had dirty water? You think Carmel, Indiana is going to have dirty water? Well, they do. Hate to tell you that, but they do. They do. All right. I guess you guys want me to spend some time talking about Comey, the FBI, and why he got fired. He got fired, blah, 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 blah. I tried my best to not dive into the antics of the orange one, because I knew, if you just wait, you don't have to react to everything he does. You don't have to react to every tweet. You don't have to react to every interview he does. Just wait. He's going to as my mama used to tell me before I used to get my butt whoopings, what you do in the dark is going to come to the light. So all of this stuff that's been happening, Flynn, Yates, the meetings, now Comey, everybody else, it's all going to come out. Sometimes, I'm opinions. I look at things in multiple ways, and I try to figure out, is the dude just really that stupid? And he got played by a gang of people? Or is he just throwing people under the bus as he needs to? Because sometimes you have to. You got to throw people under the bus. I mean, I thought Comey was a superhero after what he did in October and announcing that Anthony Weiner might have had classified information on his emails, in his emails, some new ones against Hillary. I thought Comey was a genius. I thought Comey was like the godsend, right? But when he said that, I need more people, I need more men to investigate what the heck is going on with the Russian ties. Who didn't talk to Russia in this new administration? Probably the only person who didn't talk to Russia is Kellyanne Conway. And Putin probably looked at her and was like, nah, I'm good. This is a mess. It's a mess, but you knew it was going to be a mess. How did you not know that this guy that filed bankruptcy 4 times, who's supposed to be some great business person who files bankruptcy every Warren Buffett said great business people don't file bankruptcy. But, hey, make America great again. Less than 120 days. Less than 120 days, and this is the nonsense that is happening. I'm still waiting on my buddy that I inboxed and asked, what has your president done that you love so much? And he hasn't responded yet, and I'm still waiting to hear that response. But this is 120 days, and this dude, and it's this whole administration. It's if I went to work and behaved the way that number 45 and his cronies are behaving, I would never have a job. I would never be able to keep my job, because this is ridiculous and it's incredibly unprofessional. This is just amazing. Okay, so first they said, they fired him because Rosenthal said it was a good idea to fire him. So Donald Trump said, I'm going to fire him because they said it was a good idea to fire him. All of his pundits came on TV and said, we got a memo, because we know how much they read memos. They didn't read Yates's memos. They didn't read any of her memos when she said don't hire Flynn. He didn't listen to Barack Obama when he said don't hire Flynn. But this memo had some extra bearing on it because it was from Rosenthal. Rosenthal said, hey, you need to fire Comey. So they fired Comey and out of nowhere, and that was the story they gave. And so it was kind of funny though when the Washington Post had reported that Sean Spicer, the White House, press secretary, he didn't want to talk to the press, so he hid in the bushes. I'm not even going to tell you what kind of punk move that is, right? You guys already know. You punk ass punk. You are the press secretary and you going to hide in the bushes when the press is around? I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. And then the Washington Post had to come back and retract that and say that he wasn't hiding in the bushes. He was among the bushes. that is classic. That right there kind of sums up to me what this whole administration is about. The classlessness of this whole administration is amazing. He was hiding in the bushes, y'all. The press secretary was hiding in the bushes. But anyway, so first they said it was Rosenthal. Well, then today, because, you know, Donald Trump is not one to be upstaged, and he is not one to suggest that he is not the one in control. You know, because, you know, your boy Mike Pence came on and said, Rosenthal. You know, Mike Pence came out and he said, let me make this clear. You know, of course, that means something to us when Mike Pence says, let me make this clear. What does that mean? It means nothing. I wish y'all would stop saying that. It means nothing. Let me make this clear. Not from him anyway, because we know he's a lackey. He's just waiting for him to get impeached so he can be president. I want y'all to think about that. Do you impeach Trump to get a Pence? Because here in Indiana, we know how great Pence is at running government. He ain't. So think about that. But anyway, so after everybody comes on, Mike Pence comes on, Sean Spicer, everybody comes on, Kellyanne Conway says, oh, no, Rosenthal. Today, or yesterday, whatever day it was, when he was interviewed with Lester Holt on NBC, he says, no, it was me. I decided to do it. I was all on me. He was a showboater. You know, you know it. You know he was a showboater, trying to stand me up. I mean, people up, because you know how he feels about it. Yes, he was among the bushes. Sean Spicer. You know, Sean Spicer was in the Navy. I didn't think Navy men would do that. I have like crazy mad respect for our military. And this was a Navy guy. Navy Reserves. And he went hiding in the bushes. Anyway, I'm gonna let that go. But then Speaker Paul Ryan, you know, that dude, golly, spineless. I mean, these guys are spineless. I wish as a woman walking around in America, I got to be as spineless as these men are. I really do wish that I could duck and dodge and pretend. No, I don't, because I talk too much. But he finally came on and said that Comey was compromised and he had lost the confidence of his people. Lost the confidence of his people, and ultimately he lost the confidence of the president. Now, the president, of course, you know, he can fire whoever he wants to fire. He doesn't have to keep them around. He does not. He can fire the FBI agent whenever he wants to. But, you know, Ryan's words are so disingenuous. I think they're disingenuous. You can interpret them for yourself. He says the truth is that James Comey, who is a worthwhile, dedicated public servant, had basically lost the confidence of a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats based on his conduct, his actions, and some of the comments he had made. And most importantly, he had lost the confidence of the president. This is what he told Fox News, Bret Baier. Well, first of all, I would be remiss if I knew for a fact that Paul Ryan had actually even talked to a Democrat to know what they're thinking about, because he sure as heck didn't talk to him when they was coming up with that healthcare plan. So now all of a sudden he's talking to Democrats. So that's your first disingenuous point right there, is that he ain't talking to Democrats. Second thing is, the gentleman that's actually taking his place, and I apologize for not having his name off the top of my head, the acting FBI agent said, no, that's not true. Comey had not lost the respect of the rank and file FBI agents. And you know what I find most interesting is that a lot of Republicans are like, well, why aren't Democrats happy that Comey was fired? Why aren't we happy? Look what he did to Hillary. Oh, so you're admitting that he screwed over Hillary. Thank you. I wanted to just put that out there, that you're admitting that he screwed over Hillary, but at the same time, no, we want to see things done correctly. not out of spite, not because Donald Trump felt like he was being upstaged by the 6'4" Comey. You know what I'm saying? He called him a showboat. That lets you know it had nothing to do with his job performance. Had nothing to do with his job performance. It had all to do with the fact that he might have been upstaging him. So, since Spicer was hiding in the bushes, Sarah Sanders, who was the deputy press secretary, came out. I don't know the chain of events. I just find it interesting that we find out that Sean Spicer was in the bushes, and then I'd never heard of this deputy press secretary, Sarah Sanders, and now she's on, speaking. And what she says is, the firing of Comey is we want this to come to its conclusion. We want it to come to its conclusion with integrity. And we think that we've actually, by removing Director Comey, taken steps to make that happen. Really? Comey was fine until he said, he was fine until he said that he was still investigating Trump and his boys. You know what I'm saying? He was fine until then. Comey was fine until he says, no. Everybody is up for investigation on this Trump bandwagon. And so then when Trump is on TV talking about, well, I had dinner with Comey, and he said I wasn't under investigation. I like what the young lady said on CNN. Just because you said you're not under investigation on Tuesday doesn't mean it's going to be the same thing on Wednesday. You could definitely be under investigation on Wednesday. So I haven't really gone into talking about this thing on the national level because the dirt always comes out in the wash. But I have Sally Yates, my new She-Ro. I loved it. If you guys didn't get a chance, YouTube it. YouTube Sally Yates and Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz came on. This dude. He came on and he essentially tried to do a gotcha moment with Sally Yates. Are you familiar with, article number 83625406? And she goes, yeah, no, not offhand. So then he goes, I gotcha, in his mind. And you can see his facial expressions. I gotcha. And he starts reading what this statute is and blah, 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 blah. And then Sally says, well, yeah. Now that you mention it, I do know that one. But then they wrote this other statute to counter that one because that one was screwy. Sally Yates is my new superhero. I love her. She's my new Wonder Woman. I'm loving her. She can ascend to the Superwoman status. I love it. But see, here's the thing. Sane thinking people, not conspiracy theorists, but sane thinking people can see when things are just not quite right. Because, as my mother used to tell me, with every rumor, it may not be true, but there's a basis of truth. It came from some place. It came from somewhere. There's some kind of truth in something. And the fact that you have all these people having conversations with Russians. Why are you having so many conversations with Russians? Why? What is the purpose? Why? I mean, during the whole campaign, he kept saying, "Oh, I love Putin. I think Putin is fantastic." So eventually, you knew it was going to come out in the wash. I didn't have to spend all my time and energy trying to fight and figure out what was going on with the relationship between Trump and Russia. Heck, his wife's name, he named his kids Ivanka. Come on now. I'm stereotyping, but Ivanka. So he does a lot of, we haven't seen his tax returns. We won't see his tax returns. We don't know what business ties he has with a foreign agent. When Barack Obama told him, listen, Michael Flynn is a foreign agent. He's working for Turkey. He's getting paid to be a lobbyist for Turkey. Don't hire this dude. He didn't want to hear that. Why? Because he probably already knew that. You can pretend like he didn't know anything if you want, but he probably already knew. Then you fire Comey. You fired Comey because Comey is not. See, what you expected was what I believe in my heart is what Donald Trump expected. What the orange one expected was that people will just do what he says do because that's what he's used to. He's used to running a corporation where he's the CEO and he has the final say. Now, mind you, it wasn't even a publicly traded corporation. It was his own family business. So he had always had the final say so. But see, this is what happens when you hire people who have who know nothing about government and the checks and balances that are involved. Just like you think you big and bad and powerful because now you number 45 because that's the only thing he can say. I'm president. God, it's so childish. He doesn't realize that the courts have some say and the legislative body has some say. And they can counteract you are not the end all be all. You're not Hugo Chavez. You were not a dictator. You're not Corazon Aquino. You are not Joseph Stalin. You do not have the final say so in what happens in our government, and you're learning it the hard way. You're learning it the hard way. Why are you learning the hard way? Because you didn't read a book. You could have saved yourself some headaches if you had just read a book. What up, Councilman? I just got through talking about you, sir. How are you doing today? Love it. Councilman Jamal Washington is on from Lake County. But here's the deal, people. Hold on. Be cool. And watch how all of this falls out. We're not done. We're just getting busy. You can't get rid of Sally Yates and Comey. What does he think? Just because he doesn't have a FBI director, there'll be no FBI investigation? He doesn't even realize. You at the gym? I'm jealous. I didn't get to go this morning. I've been kind of lazy. But anyway, what he doesn't realize, just because you don't have a director doesn't mean the investigation is going on. And where he's pissing people off, he's pissing rank and file members off. I mean, all the leaks that have been coming out from people who have disdain for this dude. And there are more of him than there's more of them than there are of him. And he's learning the hard way. But if he had picked up a U.S. history or a government book before he ran for office, then he might have understood the limitations of the office of the presidency. But he didn't. And unfortunately, too many other Americans have not studied civics either. And I'm not saying this to belittle anybody. I'm not saying this to make people feel bad about who they are or anything like that. But you got to know a little something sometime before you take a job. You got to know something. This dude knew nothing. Everything he has told you over the last year and a half have been all lies. Name one thing that he said that would come true other than I'm going to name a Supreme Court person. Well, we knew you were going to do that because there was a spot open. And since the Republicans refused to hear Merrick Garland, I mean, that was so, oh my God, that was so unpatriotic and so un-American to not follow the process the way it was supposed to be followed. Thank you, senators, Republican senators, and thank you, Republican House. Don't tell me what American and what patriotic means when you decided that it was not necessary to hold hearings for Merrick Garland. I want to hear it ever again, ever again. But we knew you were going to get a Supreme Court justice. We got that. But what else have you done? Going to get that wall, but we're going to get that wall, and Mexico's going to pay for it. They're asking for an increase in defense budget so you and I can pay for that wall. That's what they've done. They've asked for more money for the defense budget so we and you can pay for that wall. We're going to repeal and replace Obamacare, and everybody's going to get coverage. Everybody's going to get coverage. How's that working out? Republicans, if they don't care if you drop dead on the street right now. I read an article about some councilman or some representative out in Alaska. This fool is going to sit up and say that women get pregnant on purpose so they can get free trips to Seattle to have an abortion. This is how these Republicans think. This is how they think. I don't understand that. I mean, look it up. Look it up. I forgot his name. I'm telling you, I do a lot of reading and I try to get as much information. I can't retain everything because I ain't that kind of girl, but I really, really do. But listen, stop screaming at each other. Stop screaming and have faith in the institutions. I know right now it looks a little bleak because the institutions look like they're failing us, but they're really not, right? Because Comey was the institution. And Comey said, I am not done investigating. Oh, okay. So is Donald Trump going to fire every person that's investigating him and his Russian ties? Well, keep that up. Who else you going to piss off? You're going to piss your Republican boys off after that. You're going to piss off everybody that you need on your side. You ain't even talked to Democrats, so you don't have to worry about pissing them off. You don't even talk to them. But you want to blame them for everything, but you don't talk to them. Everybody calm down. The dirt will come out in the wash. And foolish people will continue to look foolish. Jeff Sessions, we know he's going to look foolish eventually because he was supposed to recuse himself, but he's still weighing in on it. Kellyanne Conway made herself look foolish. Sean Spicer, get out the bushes, my man. You made yourself look foolish. Eventually, well, Mike Pence doesn't care about how foolish he looks because he's got God on his side, right? He doesn't even care. He doesn't even care how foolish he looks. Yo, this is Turn Left, and I'm Dana Black. I was calm this week compared to last week. Last week I was on fire because of the bills that were getting passed and the health care bill. I was on fire. Today I was much more calm. Check out my man, RadioNext.tv. He has a full line of programs. Hit me up. Tell me what county you're in. I will connect you with the county party chair so that you can find out what events are going on. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Indiana's Own, Dana Black or Dana Black. But on Twitter, I'm Indiana's Own. I will be in Porter County again on Saturday at a library discussing how everybody can get engaged, be involved, and hopefully share my story that'll motivate people to want to get involved in politics and serve their community. Because it ain't about me. It's about the community. People ask me all the time, am I going to run for office again? I don't know. I live in a very hard district to win in, but if I can get 25 other people to run for office, then I'm doing my job. That's better than me running, spinning my wheels in a district that I may or may not be able to win in, but I can help other people win, and that's what I want to do. So we need to flip seats. Thank you again for tuning in. I was trying to be cool today. I screamed and hollered at y'all last week, so we're going to keep it tight. We're keeping it cool. But anyway, check me out again next week. Next week I have a special guest. Sabay Martin is going to be on, and she's going to talk about sickle cell. And we're going to talk about how sickle cell relates to what's going on with our healthcare laws and how people are affected negatively by this new bill that's coming out. So join us next week. We're going to have, like I said, Sabay Martin will be on talking about sickle cell. Hi, Demetrius. And in the meantime, I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, suggestions, or anything that we can do for the show, let me know. I would love to hear your input, your feedback, because I'm learning. I want to do better. I want to serve the community better. In the meantime, everybody have a fantastic night. I am your host, Indiana's Own, and this was Dana Black, and this was Turn Left. I'll see you next Thursday, y'all.